For some, my efforts to get help from a gang that tortured me and runs a snuff film um, organization have been, at best, useless curiosities for them to attempt to confiscate with the help of, well, the power of Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton is important to understand the way that they have used their power and influence kleptomaniacally as allies of Donald Trump and for hybrid domestic warfare purposes. See, I've had a very bitter and difficult life. Occasionally, I've gotten recognitions from strange places, which is what this tape is about, my letter from Martha Gellhorn. But I was squashed into an Elizabethan drama that British wags sit around saying, well, there's this paranoid who thinks Reagan started AIDS who could have saved John Lennon. And they have this invisible circuit fixated on that and how they go about promoting it and dealing with their fun is written into the legacy of the way the West um, claim they found the crime that they authored and with the help of Russia and other European powers, and then claimed that they just were copycatting it from having discovered the script. That what Penis Gabriel called justified theft, which was all shown for what it was when John Schulman was arrested in an $8 million museum heist, because he was one of their primary um, crocodile fingers in the matter. Well, you could see what was going on with this Trumpington Hillary crowd when I lived in Montana with a strawberry blonde from Maine. And I was working at Freddie's Feed and Read as a volunteer. I wasn't getting paid. It was just something to do. And I came across Martha's book, read it, and wrote her agency, the Atlantic Monthly, my account of Mount Desert Island. She wrote back to me. But before I get to that, I'd like to explain the situation in Montana. Peter Gabriel had a marquee playing Crimes and Misdemeanors by Woody Allen, but he claimed he wrote to me, Montana, I hope I spelled that correctly. And the marquee read Crimes and Misdemeanors. So they were being vulgar to me. And one of their snipers, in the media was Mona Charon. So I wrote back by spelling her name like Moan, not Charon. And she switched her picture to give this shocked expression. In other words, if we can do it and you can't, was the power and influence of Hillary Clinton. Now, Martha Gellhorn directly identified. I know if you watch my other tapes and listen to these discreetly, you remember that I related a man named Duval, who said, I know that AIDS is man-made by Bush and I support him for it. Martha wasn't that way. She was like, you can't mean it. You can't mean that somebody deliberately did this. And she said she understood a great sense of urgency in my letter, which Peter Gabriel turned into urgent, with his crowd at Carnegie Mellon University to make a mockery of it. Now, there was urgency in my town when Rosa eloped because they had detonated a neuroplasm and I was having seizures. It's nothing to laugh at. But when I was growing up, my girlfriends were just lovers. To me, that was just a normal thing. When you lived with somebody, you dated somebody for a long time, you were a lover of those. That was just normal for me. You know, a lot of the um, girls in the neighborhood had gone from one boyfriend to another. It was like a seasonal thing for them. You know, gone through periods of being alone, finding themselves, and so forth. And so I was um, aware that Penis Gabriel had turned Mount Desert Island into a peep show, but I didn't have time really to justify myself because I had found evidence that these people had planned AIDS as a and were whooping it up with genocide porno so they could have a hothouse, hot and heavy hothouse. And then they got involved with through the show business angle, Jumpy Tunes, selling this stuff for to make a killing on the market. And they kept it to themselves and lied about the whole thing. And that's um, what Martha Gellhorn may have suspected. I don't know. But the letter is a sort of situation. The artists in question, Painter was saying I talked to a lot of artists and technologists with the experience part in mind. In other words, he's going to pretend it's a joke when it's an attempt to use somebody for extermination bacon. And he's obviously criminally insane. He's a Ripper Hatter. There's no question about that in my mind at all. He's absolutely stark raving mad. He's murdered many people. But he was thousands of miles away. At the time, I thought, well, he must not grasp what really happened. He's thousands of miles away. But he was one of these, piping hot Ripper Hatters. Peter Shrupp, I guess is his name. He plays Wacko for King Crimson. He had sent me a postcard which I gave back to him, and the pornographers are all licky chops. We're going to examine the rapid eye movement of the little boy sissy so we can make some snuff film money off the curiosity of the Picasso postcard and give it to us, or we will take it by force for charity. And for towards this end, they shoot children in Texas and do various other things that they call equity, and I get locked into it because I know what's going on in the world. I talk to people, I reach out to people. For the most part, like people. I'm a fairly easygoing person, but the Ripper Hatter stuff that I found in Seattle and the way that Pittsburgh, and it's not copycat, it's some kind of hybrid relay station between the criminally insane. I mean, I don't know. And the Clintons worm tongue the whole thing for with the help for to help Trumpington. They were in on it together. So the idea that there's an alternative choice or two, even it's madcap. You know, there may be somebody out there in politics or in Congress who didn't know about it and isn't lying about it and didn't cut a deal about it and doesn't support it. Martha didn't seem to. She seemed to be quite astonished by my testimony about what happened. But the letter was taken by force. I was forced to give all of those things away. All particular things I was forced to give away. The postcard I was not forced to give away. I just, he said pass a copy, and that was the copy as far as I was concerned. Yeah, because which I didn't mean to make it sound hot and heavy. He said let's not get involved in a personal thing. So I was, Amanda Harcourt, their attorney, wrote to me her garbage I was, just, I didn't take her for a prick. I just took her as a professional, stand away from them. If you want to be there, don't go trying to paw them. They don't want to be personal. They just want, you know, um, understanding from their peers. So the idea that, you know, I started a rivalry among them or anything like that, it's just hogswash. I was just doing my level best to be accepted by people I sort of liked and didn't understand very well. I don't like them anymore. I understand them perfectly. They're horrible people, absolutely horrible. I can hardly believe how offensive King Crimson is that they would do this to someone like me. It's just unbelievably offensive. I'm a deaf man, for pity's sake. I didn't do anything to any of them. They didn't even have any interest in the girls I was dating. What's their problem? They have mental problems, very serious mental problems. They're obsessed. They're criminal. They've attacked me unprovoked since I was a child. I'm dealing with the criminally insane. I'm dealing with the criminally insane. These people are criminally insane river hatters.